Welcome to FlowWright version 10.3. We are excited about this new release. There's quite a number of enhancements to the product that we have done. So let's start off with the release notes. First is dashboards. We have made dashboard widgets easy to build, where it's more of function based. So basically, you can write a DLL with methods, and then you can configure those, function-based widgets pointing to your functions that you have written in a DLL. So we made it much more easier to use. We've heard from our customers that it was a bit difficult to implement them, so we made it much more easy to work with. Dashboard widgets now are also reorganized in the toolbox, so it's grouped more logically. We've also integrated in context-sensitive help at the dashboard designer level and also at the dashboard widgets. And then next, we've made a couple of configuration changes to tasks where you can actually turn on or off where completing a task requires the user to enter a comment. And also, tasks now can be configured to use the full allocated time. What that means is, let's say a task is assigned 5 hours to complete. And if the task completes in 3 hours, it automatically goes to the next task in the process or the next step. But now what it will do is if you tell it to use the fully allocated time, if you configure it as 5 hours, the next step is not going to start until 5 hours has gone. So even if the three task is completed in 3 hours, that step is going to wait for another 2 hours before executing the next step in the process. The next thing we have is applications. We made quite a number of changes here and also enhancements. Now there's a My Applications under the user icon, and then also the application designer now looks more similar to the runtime view of what you see when application is rendered. From on an application, you can also support return URLs now. So you can pass in a return URL and it's able to render that within the application. Application item tree. Our applications are made up of dashboards, reports, forms, processes. And when you're configuring them, you're able to see those items. But now we actually have an application tree that will show those items to you, what application uses. One of the new features also is we have an app store where you can actually download and install applications. App Store is completely free. You can just go to appstore.flowwright.com and you take a look at the applications that we have. We also have the App Store built into FlowWright where you can actually look at the App Store and download and install applications. You can also install, remove, and update these applications right from our UI. We've updated some of the multi-tenant where we made the tenant manager more context-sensitive help. On the visual process debugger, we also have step errors. So if when you're debugging, if it runs into an error, we can actually see the error right on the debugger now. We made a little enhancement on the expression evaluation engine. So whenever you use variables or globals, to also use the proper data type that's associated with those items so that they're properly represented inside the engine when we do computations. We also changed the report designer and the report viewer so that they're using themes from FlowWright. So whatever theme you set, color scheme, all that will now apply in the report viewer and the designer also. On the process side of things, we made a few enhancements. Now the process instance has a task heat map. This heat map will show you what tasks completed on time and versus what tasks completed, took more time to complete than what was scheduled. We also have a process definition step heat map. And what this will do is this will take collection of instances, let's say the last 100 instances, and it will run through and collect the data and tell you what steps ran perfectly and where you had errors, and that's all represented using a heat map. We also have a whole bunch of new PDF steps where you can do things like merge documents, you can extract pages, you can redact text, so various things using new PDF steps. We also have UI collections where we have built, let's say, every day you're dealing with certain types of processes. So you can actually go and build a filter or a UI collection, define that and save that. And tomorrow you can actually come back to the same UI collection and use it and view stuff. We also have a new process step to persist a process instance while executing. We understand the long operations like Word document generation can take a lot of time to execute. So now what you can do is you can actually place this new step anywhere in the process, and while executing, it will persist when step is hit. It will persist to the database, whatever the runtime information at that point. So these are some of the enhancements, improvements we've made to the product. Next, I'm going to kind of go and walk you through some of these enhancements and improvements within FlowWright. So let's go ahead and log into FlowWright version 10.3. And we're going to first go into dashboards. And I'm going to show you some of the improvements made to dashboards. So first thing you're going to notice is on the dashboard designer, you're going to see all widgets, of course. But then we have also categorized this. For example, you can see SQL widgets, you can see function widgets, you can see bar chart widgets, line chart widgets, number widgets, um, and pie chart widgets. And the next thing I want to show you is functional widgets. So for example, here's a widget that we have. On this widget, you can see that we are using a DLL. So you can pick the DLL you want, you can pick the method you want from that DLL, and then configure it, and you can use that particular widget. So it's pretty easy today to build a DLL with the function. And once you have, build that DLL and the function, you configure it, and your widget's ready to go. And same thing with some of the other widgets. We have pie chart widget, line chart widget, bar chart widget, and all that. The other thing we also have is we have also integrated in help. You see the help icon here on the widget itself, and then also you'll see the help icon in the designer where you can navigate. Okay. The next thing I'm going to show you is tasks. If I go into my definitions here, and let me go to, let's say, choice task. So over here, I have a choice task that's defined. And if you look at the advanced properties of this, you will see there are a couple of new options here. And some of the options, you will see that comment required. You can set that to yes, no. If you set this to yes, then you cannot complete this task without entering a comment. The other option we have is use full duration. So let's say this task is set to 3 hours. And if you say use full duration, yes, then even if you finish this task in 1 hour, the next step is going to be only executed 3 hours after this task is completed. So this is another new feature we've added to tasks. The next thing I'm going to show you is applications. And right here under my user icon, we have my applications, which will open up and show you the applications that you have access to. And if you go into the application designer, we have put the applications here on the top menu, and we can go into manage. And when you manage, you will see that we have local and app store. Or the local ones that you have downloaded show up here. And if you click on App Store, you'll see the ones downloaded from the App Store over here. And if I go into any of these, let's say we're going to go into complaint management. And as you can see, we have made improvement to the UI here. The UI looks similar to what you will see when you log in to the application or when the application is rendered. The next is if you go into under applications, you click App Store right here. This will also show you the application store. But the cool thing is you can actually install apps and update them right from here also. The other view that I showed you, if you go into App Store, if you go into appstore.flowwright.com, what you will see is the same App Store, but you won't have any options to install any applications. The next thing I'm going to show you is the reports designer. So as you can see, I'm using kind of dark gray and white, color scheme. So if I go into analytics and reports, and let's go ahead and open one of these reports. As you can see, now the report design is actually using the color scheme that I'm using in FlowWright. The next enhancements I'm going to show you are under process. So, for example, if I go to, let's say, process instance, and if I go into, let's say, let's look at one that has tasks, and we have a regular view that we're looking at, the rendered view, but we can also click on task heat map, and this will highlight and show you what task ran within their duration and what tasks were overdue and took more time than that is configured. So we're able to compute that and show you the heat map for that. We also have the heat map from a process definition level. So if I go to process definitions, and let's take something with some number of instances. Here I can go and say view heat map. And I can also do a sample size. The minimum is 100. We will take the last 100 process instances that were based on this definition. We'll analyze them and we'll show you what steps ran perfectly and what steps had problems. So let me go ahead and show that to you. So if I look at this particular workflow, you can see most of these steps ran perfectly, but some instances, this particular step had issues. So by looking at this heat map, we can clearly see where the issues are occurring. The next enhancement I'm going to show you is the PDF steps. So I'm going to go into administration and steps. And if I go to the PDF section, we have 11 new steps. And as you can see, we can do quite a number of things using this. So you can do things like merge PDF files. You can, add a table of contents. You can create a PDF from only certain pages. You can secure encrypt a PDF file. You can make a file expire. You can flatten a file. You can optimize a file. You can validate the PDF document for a certain PDF version. Some organizations might want the PDF file in a certain version, so you can do that. You can watermark so the PDF with watermarks. You can redact. You can basically use search terms and say blank out these search terms. You can also remove blank pages from a PDF file. So these are some of our new PDF steps. And you also have a new process step uh, called persist. So if I search for persist here, you'll see save process state. And what this will do is you place this anywhere in the workflow, and while executing, it will put the runtime data into store it into the database while executing, so you can see progress of that process. Another one we have done is we've created these process collections. So if I go to over here, I can create a new process collection. In this case, I can give it a name, I can give it a description, I can select what roles will have access to this particular process collection. I can select what definitions and what statuses of these processes I want to see. And I can also provide a date filter. And once I, created this, and I can create this as for myself or Chad, and once this is done, I can render this. So, for example, I have a process collection called LFD general request. Now, if I click on this little icon, this will actually launch and show me all the process um, for this particular process collection, process instances. I don't have any process instances set up in this one, but if I had, this will show up all the instances. So this is what we have for FlowWright version 10.3. The products getting enhanced almost every couple of months. We released 10.2, I believe, in April, and it's almost end of May, and we are ready to release 10.3. And there's also a lot of cool stuff going into 10.4, including AI. Thank you for watching this video.